And joining us now is Julian Payne. He is a CBS News royal contributor. He is also the former communications director for the Prince of Wales. Julian, welcome. So, of course, you served with the now King Charles. So you, almost better than anyone, can give us some insight into him. What can you tell us about him, and what can you tell us about your interactions with the Queen in that role?
Thank you for having me today. Obviously, this is an extremely sad day for not just the UK, but I think the whole world. But really, what we see now is, as the Queen has sadly passed away, immediately we are now in a new reign. We have, as he has now been confirmed, King Charles III. He immediately takes on his duties. This is a gentleman of 73 years old. Very different start to his reign. Of course, the Queen much younger when she began her reign. But what we see now is somebody who has had more than 50 years in the public domain, somebody that for more than 5 decades has championed many of the things that I think are close to all our hearts now. And I'm talking about the environment, social equality, arts and culture. This is a man who in 1971 gave his first speech where he said that the amount of plastic that we were all using was going to cause us a huge amount of trouble in the future. So really, for many years, he's been in touch with and in tune with the things which are causing us concern and trouble and worry now. So as I sit here, having worked closely with him for 5-6 years, I feel very confident that he is a man who understands the public, both in the UK and around the world, but crucially, is someone that has already had a lifetime of duty and service. He wakes up every day, I think, believing that there is a positive contribution he can make on behalf of this country or many of the other countries around the Commonwealth. And I expect that to continue in this new role.
And on that point, Julian, do you expect then that King Charles III will sound exactly like Prince Charles? I mean, the Queen Elizabeth II had a policy on, as the head of the monarchy, not commenting on politics, not providing her opinion, not trying to move public opinion necessarily in either direction. Do you expect King Charles III will keep that up, or might he be a different type of king?
Listen, it's a really good question. I spoke to him many times about the fact that he was very clear. There is a role as monarch which is very defined, where you exist to serve the people of the UK and other realms around the world. You exist to enact the laws and the requests of government. As Prince of Wales, it was a very different role. He could be a campaigning prince. Right. He could be outspoken on the things that he was passionate about. But I remember when we were doing a documentary on his 70th birthday, that question was put to him, and he was very clear. He knows the difference between what it is to be what he would call a campaigning prince and what it is to be sovereign. A sovereign doesn't speak in the way that a prince does. The sovereign doesn't have the same latitude. And I think he understands that. Don't forget, this is somebody that was born knowing that this role was coming to him. That wasn't the case with his mother. It wasn't even the case with his grandfather, but he knew. So he's always said he was aware he would have a long time as Prince of Wales, and he felt he should do something with that time. But he also knew when the time came to be sovereign, to be King Charles III, that would require a different role. And he was very clear on what the difference was.
Interesting, though, because at the same time, many of the things that he does champion, such as, environmental causes, do, for many people, transcend politics, right? So it'll be interesting to see what issues he carries with him as monarch and which issues he sort of tables as perhaps being too political for his new role.
Yeah, look, I think he's very clear on the difference between the political side of life, which is a place where he obviously has to respect and remain neutral, and indeed he has done so for a great many years. And it is, you're quite right, he is able to take some of those issues that he's passionate about, that we all care about, forward into his new reign. Sovereigns, kings, queens, they can convene people. That is not influencing policy. That is not seeking to change the views of government, but they can bring people together with the aim to find solutions, with the aim to addressing the issues that we're facing, climate change chief amongst them. But we're facing a huge amount of challenges around the world at the moment. And he is determined in his role previously as Prince of Wales, and I'm sure as king as he moves forward, to continue to do whatever he can within the very clear parameters of being monarch to continue to do what he can to help.
But there is also a level of stability and symbolism that comes with the royal family. King Charles III now, not as popular as Queen Elizabeth II was, and maybe even less popular than Prince William. Do you sense at all that in order to keep up, I don't want to say keep up appearances, this is much bigger than that, but in order to keep this popularity up of this brand, do you expect at any point that King Charles III may step aside voluntarily so that Prince William can become king?
It's a question that people have often asked. I can be categoric. The British monarchy is a hereditary monarchy, and you saw with Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, she served and was discharging her duties all right up to the very end. I fully expect two things. First of all, I expect him to discharge his job as monarch throughout his life. But I also expect that he will come to the affection of people, those people who perhaps didn't follow his work as Prince of Wales. When he becomes king, they will take a closer look. They will perhaps learn more about him, and their affection, I think, naturally follows. It is always the case in the years that I worked with him that when you sat down and talked to people, or indeed when they met him, and they understood what he was passionate about and what he was committed to and how hard he was working on behalf of the nation, 500 engagements every year, traveling to more than a dozen countries, they suddenly understood that actually this is somebody who is passionate about duty, passionate about service. And as he enters this new phase of his life, as he takes on this role of monarch, I fully expect people to see that, to understand more of what he does. And in so doing, I think that affection will really rise.
And Julian, quickly, before we let you go, as former communications director for the Prince of Wales, we assume you had many interactions with the Queen as well. Would you like to share any personal memories?
I must say, one of the things that I was thinking about today on this very sad day was when my wife, Danielle, and I went to the diplomatic ball, which is the real high point of the diplomatic occasion every year. And of course, the Queen is host, and she would come into the room, and it's almost like seeing a room which is full of global dignitaries, let's not forget. Almost like seeing the room tip up as everybody just gravitated towards her. And there she was in the middle, resplendent in this incredible silver sequined gown with a tiara as she went round greeting everybody. And it was absolutely stunning to see her and the impact she had on everybody she met. So I feel very privileged to have spent time with her. We all miss her deeply, but we're ready to serve under the new king.
She had that magnetic presence.
Yeah. It's such a good point you make. King Charles III now, a man in a position he's waited his entire life for as we commemorate the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. Julian Payne, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Julian.
Thank you.